Welcome back, guys. Today, let's do something different, right? So, over the past 6 months, I have received many questions on renovation, on HDB, and all this stuff, right? So, I thought I will do a video, right, to share with you my thoughts, my answers, how I do go about all these things, and the tips to all these questions, so that you guys can also, benefit from the questions as well as from my experience through my very extensive research and also the actual renovation. Right, so similarly, if you have any questions about renovations, right, you can always put it in the comment section below, right? I will answer every one of them, and in the in the comment section below, or I will just make another video like this, right, based on your questions as well. So okay, first question, should we go for big tiles or small tiles? So I think this is a very common question that homeowners are often torn between the various sizes of the tiles, right? So most of the time it's really the budget, right? How to actually balance the high cost of these large format tiles, right? And the appearance and the grout lines in the smaller tiles. So basically, these larger tiles, right? They mean fewer grout lines. They are easier to maintain, right? They look better, but then it comes at a higher cost, at a higher tile prices. But is it really worth it? I personally think so. Yeah. So not only because of the lower maintenance that will last over a longer period of time, right? But it's also about the aesthetics, right? Large tiles always give you that sense of like space, right? It stretches out your space in your living space, right? And give people the illusion of the very spacious environment. So I think it makes a significant difference. So in terms of price, right, then you can definitely expect a higher labor cost, right? Because the large format tiles is heavier, right? It's a lot more bulky, right? Definitely need more people to help to lay the tiles. So basically, you will need to pay for like one or two additional helpers. So I wouldn't say it's like exactly a double or triple the labor cost, but it will be higher because you only need one skilled tiler, and then the helpers, right? The helpers will cost actually not as much as the tile itself. So for tile prices, then bigger tiles will cost more, but it's not like a lot more. Usually, around $6 per square foot, right? But I've seen large format tiles that cost only around $4. So it's still pretty affordable. So next question, what are the few ways to do aircon trunking in the HDB apartments, right? So, okay, this is also something that many homeowners are very concerned about, right? Because HDB, as you know, has many ceiling beams, right? They are often found in the most unfortunate areas. So I don't know how many times I have complained about beams and made changes to my design, right? So I think the way to go is to see how we can actually, hide the aircon trunking, right, as much as possible along with the beams, right? So all we know is that the aircon trunking is really thick, is super unsightly, and is a big eyesore, right? But a lot of this also comes with the skill and the experience of the aircon contractor, right? Some contractor just want to get the job done, right? And they just do the easiest way out, right? Cut through your design and stuff like that, right? But there are some others have better design or better aesthetic sense, right? They care about the appearance, and they don't mind doing the extra work to actually, fit the trunking and work around the beams to conceal them properly, right? So for myself, I have chosen my ID preferred aircon contractor to do the trunking, right? They have worked before together, they have coordinated before, so there are some chemistry between them, and they really care about the design, right? So they have done, I think, pretty much a good job to cover and conceal those trunking in the false ceiling, create some false wall or things like that. So let me bring you over to my unit and walk you through the aircon trunking. Okay, so for aircon ducting, right? So what you can see here is the living room aircon. So you can see that this is the hidden so-called aircon trunking that is like to make similar like the ceiling beam itself, right? So that you can't tell whether it's ceiling or whether it's whether it's like trunking, right? So what you can see here is that you can see here, right? This is actually the force area. Okay, so the trunking actually runs all the way here, then go into the room itself. So let me bring you into the room, right? So you actually come up from here, right? So this area we're going to box up as well, right? And then from here so you can see, right? It actually goes to the other room. So there's no so-called like obvious trunking, right? So it's all concealed to make like a force wall, or you can't see the trunking at all. Okay, the other room, you come up from here and then you can see it's the same thing, right? It makes to looks like the so-called force wall itself, right? Camouflage. You don't see obvious trunking. Yeah. So from here, right, the aircon trunking actually leads to the master bedroom. Right, so the trunking actually runs inside this false ceiling, right? So it's a bit lower. So you actually come all the way somewhere here, and then you come into the toilet, and then here is the so-called master bedroom aircon unit. Right, so you can see in the toilet, right, in the L box itself, you see all the aircon trunking coming out from here. Right, then you actually leads all the way inside the L box, all the way to the end, the so-called designated outlet that will lead outside to the aircon compressor. Right, so this is how I conceal the entire trunking, right? So that is camouflage, right? You don't see obvious trunking in the house, right? It's all either boxed up, hidden away, or being camouflaged as part of a false ceiling. Next question, black powder coated, bathroom fitting, right? Yes or no? So I think this one is pretty much, very much really depends on your preference and your budget. The biggest flaw with like powder coating is that, especially in wet areas, high traffic places, is that they don't last as long because, due to wear and tear. Right? While you can still use it, right, the thing is still functional, but you can expect peeling or flaking over time. Right? So especially for the cheaper brands or you get from Taobao, right? So let me show you some examples here, right? So from this photo, you can see this tab, right? This tab is from Taobao after a year. Right? The powder coating has totally worn off, and you can see that rough, imperfect surface, right? Which to me is super ugly and definitely unacceptable, right? Even if after a year, right? Some others will peel and reveal the metal below, right? Because it's black, it's going to be super obvious. So the easiest fix to this problem is, you can just use a permanent marker, color it black, then it's not so obvious lah. But overall, for normal and cheap brands, I think powder coating, you can expect it to last between 6 to 12 months before, any kind of like peeling will occur. Right? If you get better brands like Hans Grohe, Kohler, Grohe, right, this kind of brands, then it will still peel, but not as serious actually, right? Definitely with a longer lifespan. So initially for me, I did consider getting black powder coated fittings. But once I saw the peeling problem, right, I told myself, no, this is something that I cannot tolerate, right? So no choice, I decided to invest more to get the Hans Grohe black chrome, right? I think it's a black brush chrome, which will not peel. Here's another very popular question. 75-inch TV or the 65-inch TV, right? This one took me a long time to decide, right? The primary consideration is definitely the viewing distance, right? If you are sitting very close to a TV, like within 2.5 meters, then maybe you don't need so big a TV, right? But if you are sitting further away, right, then the bigger is better lah. Right, for myself, my sitting viewing distance, right, is around 2.6, 2.7 meters. So actually, 65 or 75-inch TV actually works well. Right, 75 TV, right, definitely I think it is more show, right, because although it's not significantly bigger, but the feeling, right, the immersive experience is really there. Right, but there are other considerations that I have to think about as well, right? Like for health reasons, right? 75-inch, I think, I feel that it can be too sharp, too glaring, right? You can feel the radiation, right? Right. I think it may strain your eyes, right, at such a big size. And I got kids at home, right, and they tend to sit very near to the TV. So maybe not a good idea to get such a super big TV, right? The other consideration is really the price, right? The price difference. So if you are not aware, right, the price for TVs, right, significantly increase, right, from 65-inch upwards. So the larger the screen beyond 65, the more expensive it will become, right? So when I last checked the price yesterday, the difference between a Samsung Frame 65 versus a Samsung Frame 75 is additional $2,500, right? So and the Samsung Frame 65, right, costs $3,000. So technically, a 75-inch TV can buy two of these TV, right? Two of these 65-inch TV. So the math itself doesn't make sense. So in the end, I settled for 65. No good reason to throw in another 65-inch TV just to get a 10-inch larger TV. The last question I want to share is about water heater, right? Specifically the storage water heater. So, and exactly where to install it, right? Is it better in the common bathroom or is it better in the service yard, right? So I think this has to do with a lot of considerations, right? And of course, the starting point is the budget as well, right? By default, HDB has placed the pipes for the storage heater in the common bathroom. Right? So if you intend to shift it out, right, shift it to the service yard, then you need to adjust the pipes as well. So you have to factor in some costs that will be involved, right? The next consideration, I think, is really the aesthetic purposes. Right? So if you want your common bathroom to look nice, then a storage heater cannot be there, right? Because it's super, super big, bulky, and it will look very ugly in the already very small bathroom, right? So, and there's not many places you can install it or hide it, right? Which is why many homeowners prefer to shift it out to the service yard. Right? The other consideration is also the functionality. Right? So when you mount it in the service yard, right, on the ceiling or beam, right, then it takes up your space, right? It takes up your space like your drying rack, your stagen, right? Which means that your drying rack itself has to shift somewhere else, right? Because it cannot be installed there, because it cannot be like fully extended, or you will not onto the water heater and things like that. So it really depends on the design and the layout of your kitchen itself, your service yard. Because if there's no space for the drying rack, then really no choice, right? Because the drying rack can never be fitted into the bathroom, right? Yeah, so I think, living in HDB has its limitations. We just have to make compromises here and there so that we can get a better living experience, right? It may not be aesthetically perfect, it may not be really perfect, but as long as it's practical, it's affordable, it's decent, I think we can't complain much about it. So there you go, some of these are very popular questions that I have received from my viewers and followers. So if you have any other questions, remember to put it in the comment section below and I will answer them. Make sure you click on the subscribe button below as well so that you don't miss out on all these very awesome videos. Until next time, I will see you soon.